fan service. Some love it, some hate it. But I bet what you're all wondering is, what does random stranger 1,192,302,112 think about it? It sucks. Yeah, I don't know what you expected me to. Wait. You think that just because I'm a man, I would like fan service? Okay, rude, but I will forgive you, because the internet would make you think that the very sight of an anime girl in any position that is slightly provocative would turn any man within a 100-mile radius into a pack of rabid animals. However, this is not the case, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, to make sure that this video actually has structure and doesn't sound like the ramblings of the voices inside of my head, I'm going to be breaking down this video into two parts with multiple subsections. That is, intention and reaction. So, let's begin. Hey everyone, Pathra Scarlet here today, bringing you guys another YouTube video, and today we're going to be talking about fan service. So I think I already established that the type of fan service we're talking about isn't the Marvel end credits scenes, the epic characters returning, or characters either referencing outside material, or things of that nature. No, the type of fan service I'm talking about is of the suggestive kind. I think the attractive anime girl with a censored bar over her chest makes that one apparent. When it comes to determining if something is fan service or not, the framing of a scene is quite important. You see, a character wearing little to no clothing does not automatically equate to fan service. There are many examples of this, but none better illustrate this than the typical anime girl school uniform. What do I mean by that? Well, in most situations, it's just supposed to be a cute outfit. However, if you frame it in a certain way, it can quickly turn suggestive. Whether it be camera shots, sound effects, or physics, all of these things matter when it comes to the intention of a scene. For example, look at this image of Sarah. Pretty cute, right? It would simply be silly to think that any aspect of this image is supposed to be suggestive in any connotation. However, if you switch to something like this, then yeah, you can see that there clearly is intention to be provocative. And unfortunately, anime has a bad habit of switching up the framing. There are certain moments in anime where for some reason they decide that adding random fan service to serious scenes is a good idea. Just to give an example, let's look at Fairy Tail. Many scenes either have Lucy or whatever other girl in extremely revealing outfits, which on its own isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the problem lies in the framing of the scene. Honestly, I could go on and on about the amount of times this happens in not just Fairy Tail, but countless other shows. Sometimes you get fan service at the end of an emotional climax, sometimes you get fan service during a life or death scene, and at worst, you get fan service in scenes where characters are getting violated. Yeah, it's quite gross and distasteful to say the least. However, it is a trend that has been quite normalized in anime. On that rather dreary note, let's talk about what fan service is not. You see, on one side of the spectrum, there seems to be a vendetta against attractive women in anime. However, this is quite strange. It is a stylized medium. Of course the characters are all gonna look like supermodels, unless the story has a reason for them not to be. There's not really a problem. This is anime after all, and surprise surprise, but anime does not reflect real life. Now, on that same note, an attractive character does not equate to good design. I mean, just look at any generic harem anime, like Ever. There's a slew of conventional attractive anime girls, but yet nobody ever talks about them, because a character being attractive does not mean that they are well designed. Another example of this would be Genshin Impact. Its newest releases have women who I can tell that they're trying to make as attractive as possible to sell more. However, Even as someone who doesn't play the game, I can tell that these characters don't fit in with the overall setting of the game. That'd be like watching Naruto and then suddenly the female ninjas wear high heels and miniskirts. Like, Naruto would never do that. I stand corrected. These character designs, even though they are trying to be attractive, are probably some of the worst things I've ever seen. A good design should be able to tell a story. You should get the general gist of a character by how they are designed, and sometimes a character will be attractive and sometimes they won't. And either way, it just needs to make sense. Now, as much as I ragged on fan service and things of that nature, I do not hate attractive characters. Obviously. Like, just because a character is attractive doesn't mean I'm gonna go on a month-long Twitter tirade about how men are disgusting, filthy animals. However, there is clearly a difference between attractive and suggestive. This is attractive. It's nice. It's pretty. We like this. But this, no, it's not nice. And I can understand why people get annoyed with suggestive characters. Like, no, I don't want to see every anime girl with her things singing while I'm just trying to watch an epic life and death anime. Now, with that being said, there are some examples of suggestive characters that don't fall into the fanservice-y category, because the suggestive aspect actually helps to further either the character or the story at large. Once again, this all ties back into the importance of framing, though I will admit, in a lot of cases, the in-story reason for a character being suggestive is very dumb, practically pointless. But, like I said, there are some occasions where a character being suggestive does serve the plot in a meaningful way. Okay, a bit of an extreme title card for this one, but seriously, sometimes the reactions that I see people have to these types of characters genuinely make me lose all faith in humanity. I've seen some of the craziest reactions to fan service, and not just anime, but media in general, where they act like fan service is the end-all be-all when it comes to the success of a product, when that's clearly not the case. I mean, just look at all the cruddy fan service games that YouTube for some reason pushes out, even though they break all terms of service possible. Those clearly have no fanfare behind them, and the only reason why they have so much advertising money behind them is because a random company in Japan thinks that this is their surefire way to make a big hit, not knowing that their game, just like the millions of other soulless fan service games, will all die. I'm getting off topic, but the way that people react to suggestive anime girls makes me want to die. I mean, they make me know why aliens won't talk to us. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, for sure. Anyway, the endless sea of comments of people either barking, spamming emojis, or calling anime girls mommy is crazy, and then this would be the anime girl they would freak out over. Like, genuinely, sometimes it feels like these people have never seen a woman in their life, and now they're just having an out-of-body experience. And to highlight this, I have compiled a montage of people freaking out over anime girls. So, what have we learned today, everyone? Number 1, the way a scene is framed is important to determine if it is fan service or not. Number 2, attractive does not equal good design. Number 3, attractive does not equal bad design. And number 4, the internet is cringe. Overall, I personally do not like fan service because, at best, it's a pointless distraction. At worst, it can be extremely uncomfortable. However, I do understand that it is kind of a normal thing at this point, and just because a show has fan service does not mean that it's a bad show. Most times you can just skip the fan service because usually it pops up in scenes that aren't important, and if fan service does pop up in serious scenes, then maybe the show isn't even worth watching because the creators are willing to derail an important scene just for kicks. So, do you like fan service? Why or why not? Is there an aspect that you think I should have went over? Tell me about it, and maybe I'll make a follow-up to this. But, It always comes that time of day when I have to say, bye.